told me. "Put up right hand," I told the Zasroff. "Do you truly say, in front of a Great One who made all worlds, who has knowledge of what is in the hearts of all persons, that what you will say here will be true, all true, and not anything that is not true, and will you so say again at a time when all worlds end? Do you so truly say?"
"Yes, I so truly say."
"Say your name."
"Pubamegel Kovutumek Chichichi."
"What is your business?"
"I put things made of cloth into this world, and I take meat out of this world."
"Where do you have your house?"
"Here in New Austin, over my house of business, on Coronado Street."
"What people do you see in this place that you have made business with?" Pupamegel Kovutumek Chichichi pointed a three-fingered hand at the Bonney brothers. "What business did you make with them?"
"I gave them money for a machine which goes on the ground and goes in the air very fast, to take persons and things about."
"Is that the thing you gave them for money?" I asked, pointing at the exhibit air car.
"Yes, but it was new then. It has been made broken by things from guns now."
"What money did they give you for the machine?"
100 pesos.
That started another uproar. There wasn't a soul in that courtroom who didn't know that 5,000 pesos would have been a giveaway bargain price for that car.
"Mr. Ambassador," one of the associate judges interrupted, "I used to be in the used car business. Am I expected to believe that this being sold that air car for 100 pesos?
"There's a notarized copy of the bill of sale from the office of the Vehicles Registration Bureau," I said. "I introduce it as evidence." There was a disturbance at the back of the room, and then the Zasroff ambassador, Gugulafer Destapatan Vuvuvu, came stalking down the aisle, followed by a couple of rangers and two of his attachés. He came forward and addressed the court.
"May you be happy, sir, but I am in here so quickly, not because I have desired to make noise, but because it is only short time since it got in my knowledge that one of my persons is in this place. I am here to be of help to him that he not get in trouble, and to be of help to you. The name for what I am to do in this place is not part of my knowledge. Please say it for me." "You are a friend of the court," Judge Nelson told him, "and amicus curiae."
"You make me happy. Please go on. I have no desire to put stop to what you do in this place." "From what person did you get this machine that you gave to these persons for 100 pesos?" I asked. Gugulafer immediately began barking and snarling and yelping at my witness. The dry goods importer looked startled, and Judge Nelson banged with his gavel. "That's enough of that. There'll be nothing spoken in this court but English, except through an interpreter." "Yo, I am sad that what I did was not right," the Zasroff ambassador replied contritely. "But my person here has not as part of his knowledge that you will make him say what may put him in trouble." Nelson nodded in agreement. "You are right. This person who is here has no need to make answer to any question if it may put him in trouble or make him seem less than he is." "I will not make answer," the witness said. "No further questions." I turned to Goodham and then to Sidney. They had no questions either. I handed another slip of paper to the bailiff, and another Zasroff, named Babark Jonyekyeg Kekiki, took the stand. He put into this world things for small persons to make amusement with. He took out of this world meat and leather. He had his house of business in New Austin, and he pointed out the three Bonnies as persons in this place that he saw that he had seen before. "And what business did you make with them?" I asked. "I gave them for money a gun which sends out things of 20 millimeters very fast, to make death or hurt come to men and animals, and does destruction to machines and things." "Is this the gun?" I showed it to him. "It could be. The gun was made in my world. Many guns like it are made there. I am certain that this is the very gun." I had a notarized copy of a customs house bill in which the gun was described and specified by serial number. I introduced it as evidence. How much money did these three persons give you for this gun? I asked.
5 pesos.
The customs appraisal on this gun is 600 pesos, I mentioned. Immediately, Ambassador Vuvuvu was on his feet.
My person here has not part of his knowledge that he may put himself in trouble by what he says to answer these questions.
That put a stop to that. Barark Jornyokyeg Kokiki immediately took refuge in refusal to answer on grounds of self-incrimination. That is all, Your Honor, I said. And now, I continued, when the witness had left the stand, I have something further to present to the court, something both as amicus curiae and as ambassador of the Solar League. This court cannot convict the 3 men who are here on trial. These men should have never been brought to trial in this court. It has no jurisdiction over this case. This was a simple case of first-degree murder by hired assassins committed against the ambassador of one government at the instigation of another, not an act of political protest within the meaning of New Texan law. There was a brief silence. Both the court and the spectators were stunned, and most stunned of all were the 3 Bonney brothers, who had been watching, fear-sick, while I had been putting a rope around their necks. The uproar from the rear of the courtroom gave Judge Nelson a needed minute or so to collect his thoughts. After he had gotten order restored, he turned to me grim-faced.
Ambassador Silk, will you please elaborate on the extraordinary statement you have just made?
He invited, as though every word had sharp corners that were sticking in his throat. Gladly, Your Honor. My words, too, were gouging and scraping my throat as they came out. I could feel my knees getting absurdly weak, and my mouth tasted as though I had an old copper penny in it. As I understand it, the laws of New Texas do not extend their ordinary protection to persons engaged in the practice of politics. An act of personal injury against a politician is considered criminal only to the extent that the politician injured has not, by his public acts, deserved the degree of severity with which he has been injured, and the court of political justice is established for the purpose of determining whether or not there has been such an excess of severity in the treatment meted out by the accused to the injured or deceased politician. This gives rise, of course, to some interesting practices. For instance, what is at law a trial of the accused is, in substance, a trial of his victim. But in any case tried in this court, the accused must be a person who has injured or killed a man who is definable as a practicing politician under the government of New Texas. Speaking for my government, I must deny that these men should have been tried in this court for the murder of Silas Cumshaw. To do otherwise would establish the principle and precedent that our ambassador, or any other ambassador here, is a practicing politician, under, mark that well, Your Honor, under the laws and government of New Texas. This would not only make of any ambassador a permissible target for any marksman who happened to disapprove of the policies of another government, but more serious, it would place the ambassador and his government in a subordinate position relative to the government of New Texas. This the government of the Solar League simply cannot tolerate, for reasons which it would be insulting to the intelligence of this court to enumerate.
Mr. Silk, Judge Nelson said gravely, this court takes full cognizance of the force of your arguments. However, I'd like to know why you permitted this trial to run to this length before entering this objection. Surely you could have made clear the position of your government at the beginning of this trial.
Your Honor, I said, had I done so, these defendants would have been released, and the facts behind their crime would have never come to light. I grant that the important function of this court is to determine questions of relative guilt and innocence. We must not lose sight, however, of the fact that the primary function of any court is to determine the truth, and only by the processes of the trial of these depraved murderers for hire could the real author of the crime be uncovered. This was important, both for the government of the Solar League and the government of New Texas. My government now knows who procured the death of Silas Cumshaw, and we will take appropriate action. the government of New Texas has now had spelled out, in letters anyone can read,